were obviously pursued legally in the beginning, and I wanted to ask, why do you think that happened? And did you feel like giving up at that time?
To be honest, I did want to give up. This happened to us 3 days before our grand opening, but they do this because obviously they've got money and they've got the power to do it, but they do it to intimidate you. Are you willing to get a lawyer? Are you willing to fight for your brand this early on? We've invested so much money in the caravan, in everything. Are we going to back out now? Welcome to
The Modern Dog Parents. Let us know if you can tell where that song's from. I'm still waiting for someone to figure it out. But thanks again for joining us today. We're going to get straight into it. I thought today we'd do something a little bit different, change things up. I'm actually going to be the interviewer, and we're going to be interviewing the beautiful Mel. She is the, what are you, CEO? No, Lenny's the CEO, but you're the marketing manager, the operations manager, the content creator, the warehouse director, the pick packer, all of the above of Lenny's Pup Shop. And I'm sure you all get to see it on social media, what it is today. But I thought we'd throw our minds back to when we first started, how it's been built, and a little bit of behind the scenes action. So, Mel, if you don't mind, today I'm going to ask a few questions.
Let's do it.
Let us know in the comments if you do want to ask Mel any questions. She's done a fantastic job, I think, of building Lenny's Pup Shop into what it is today. And the entire workforce is what you see in front of you. Just us three, if you can believe it. So the first question I have for you is that before Lenny's Pup Shop existed, I wanted to know a little bit about what you were doing with your life back then, and if you ever imagined building a dog brand like what we have today.
Yeah, sure. So before Lenny's, I did a bunch of different things. So I started working when I was 15, started working at McDonald's. I feel like that's most young people probably do that. And then I went into retail and moved up there and went into management. And I really enjoyed managing teams and being a team leader. And then I moved on into more like corporate type jobs. So I went on to managing GP practices, medical centers. I didn't love that. That was really hard. And then...
You're basically in a shoebox managing, not even a window in the medical center.
It was bad. I was like in a server room. So it was just like cables and everything. It was terrible. And then I went on to operations management for a company that handled like sports clubs, hospitality, properties and all that sort of thing. So I moved up into that. But a lot of my role as an operations manager was to help my boss open businesses, manage businesses, especially hospitality businesses. So that's what I did before Lenny's. But in saying that, as you can tell, it's got nothing to do with having a small business or having anything to do with dogs or pets or anything like that. So no, I can't say that Lenny's Pup Shop was something that I had envisioned or that I thought was going to end up in my lap one day. But it just kind of did, I guess, since we got Lenny, and you and I have always wanted to do a business.
Yeah.
So I don't know, he just came at a perfect moment in our life, and I think we just really wanted to do something surrounding him.
Yeah, and thinking back, Mel, I hope you don't mind me sharing, was pretty unhappy in these roles, as I'm sure a few of you might be in your corporate roles. I think it is crazy in Australia or around the world, I suppose. You get up so early, you have to get to your job and leave like an hour and a half before, and then you work the 9 to 5 or 5:30, and then you're back home at 7 just in time to make dinner and clean up, and then you're basically wrecked and just pass out. So your whole life is work.
It's just not something that I ever enjoy doing. And to be honest, most of you probably don't either. I know for a fact it's not something that you want to do. It's something you have to do. But for me, I really struggled in a corporate kind of business. You have to be very, you kind of have to go with the flow and climb the corporate ladder. And I just wasn't like that. I was opinionated and I asked questions, and they didn't like that. So for me, long term, it just never felt like working for someone else was ever going to really work unless that person worked with me. Probably sound really up myself.
Hard to work with?
No,
never.
But yeah, I think definitely the end goal was always a business for us, for our family. One day we just want to kind of create that generational wealth and, just have our own thing and just be able to manage our own time.
Yeah, I think it's hard, when you have a boss to answer for who tells you what to do all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's the best part about having your own thing. You'd probably agree. You're a lot happier now with this
Yes.
lifestyle. So
Oh, this is like my dream life. I tell Josh that all the time. So it's hard, but I don't think I would do it any other way.
yeah, and it's funny because I was listening, and there are a lot of manager roles, but a lot of your work now is content creation. You probably all see that online. Where do you think that skill came from? If you hadn't done that previous in your past working experience.
Yeah, in my professional life, I've never done anything content related, like having to make social media posts or ads or anything, websites, building websites. I had no experience. I myself enjoy drawing illustrations, but I do it as a hobby. The only thing I ever really did that was close to a business was I had opened a small business during COVID, and I was just doing little drawings of people and just selling that online, but it wasn't anything major, you know? So yeah, I had to learn on the job. Genuinely, like if you're looking for inspiration, you're someone like, I don't have the skills, I don't know how to do any of that. Like surely these people that have made it, have these skills, but I didn't. I had nothing under my belt. I had no portfolio. I had to learn everything on Google, on YouTube, and yeah, you just kind of figure it out as you go.
Yeah, I think you were always creative, and I remember Mel during COVID always doing a lot of illustrations. She had a little Mel's
Yeah.
illustrations job
Yeah.
that you'd started, but I think that served you later on now because I
Yeah.
know you enjoy that.
Oh, it was great.
And some of these questions I don't think I've ever even asked Mel myself, so it's the first time me hearing it as well. But obviously you've always had a love for dogs. That's why Lenny's Pup Shop started. It was inspired by Lenny. I don't think we would have ever dreamt of doing something like this before we got Lenny. But where do you think that love of dogs came from? And was there a moment growing up where you realised, that they were more than pets, because obviously we see Lenny as our son.
Yeah, 100%. I think I've always been obsessed with dogs. I was always someone like I am one of four girls, we're four sisters, but I don't think anyone is obsessed in my family as much as I am obsessed with dogs. I think I was born like that. And I was the type of child that would ask my parents or whoever to stop in the middle of the street so I could go pat the dog. Like it was obsession to the point where it's like if I saw it from miles away, I would just like, that's the only thing I was focusing on. And I kept kind of flip-flopping between wanting to become a vet and work with animals, but I don't think that was the avenue I was looking for. Like, I don't think I would enjoy seeing suffering animals, and I don't know. There's so many.
Hard.
Yeah, it would be very hard. So, and then I wanted to be a marine biologist, and I went through all these weird phases. But life takes you in different directions sometimes. So yeah, I mean, I've always loved dogs. So for me, when you and I, or when you agreed to get Lenny, it was like the start of the best day of my life. It was like for me, I was hounding my parents to get a pet, but they just, and I understand, I was barely home, I was at uni, so they didn't want to take care of it. So I was really excited to get Lenny. And to be honest, I don't think there was any particular moment that, I think just getting Lenny was when I was like, man, these aren't just animals. This is your family. They have a soul, they understand, they communicate with you. And I think I've always had kind of like that feeling with animals and pets and all of that. When I go to a zoo or a conservatory or whatever you call it, I don't know. It's like when I look into their eyes, I see more than just an animal. So for me, yeah, I have a really deep connection with dogs and with animals in general.
Yeah, I even definitely feel that more so now. Like I was telling Mel, when I go to kill a spider or a bug, I now feel bad about it ever since getting Lenny, because I think you do feel like everyone has a soul. We're all connected in some way.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, what if that was me? What if I was that spider?
I think something I did to overcome that, I mean, look, I do not like spiders and bugs. I will freak if they touch me. But a big thing that I used to do was when we had daddy long legs in the house, I would just name them.
Yeah.
And when I named them, they're just not as scary. So I would call one Dennis and I'd be like, hey, Dennis, you're still here. Just stay in your little corner. So yeah, they do. I don't know. Maybe we humanize them more now.
Yeah.
But still, they do. They all have a soul, and it's just, yeah.
That was the weirdest thing when I first started dating Mel. In her bathroom, there was like 20 daddy long leg spiders all in the corners. And I was like, why don't you kill these spiders or spray them off? But they're all Mel's friends, and
Yeah, I
she
mean,
wasn't scared.
they're harmless,
Yeah.
but at the same time, yeah, there was just no point in killing them. I felt too bad.
They were Mel's friends,
They were my
her
buddies.
closest friends.
They sound crazy.
Yeah. Just a little. That's okay. We're all a little bit crazy, you know. So when we first got Lenny, did you imagine that he would inspire this entire business when we first got him, or do you think it was probably a little bit after that, once we started realizing he had chicken allergies? And did you always think that you wanted to do a dog business, or did you think it sort of came about once we found all his issues that he had?
I think it came more from probably the issues that he had. I had the general inspiration when we started trying to find business ideas. Like I made bandanas and whatever, but nothing really hit because I don't think it was meaningful enough for me. But yeah, obviously getting Lenny, we weren't prepared that he was going to have a chicken allergy. I mean, that was the last thing I ever thought he was going to have. So for me, I think that definitely started the inspiration. At the same time, working in my all corporate job, I was opening small businesses and cafes. And I think as I was working through those projects, that's when I came up with the actual dog cafe. So that was an idea that came about because it was so unique and it was so different. But then between that, we were like, we can't just sell pop cups, there's got to be more to it than that. And yeah, that's why we developed the actual brand and the treats that we have, because Lenny was struggling so much we were just struggling to find good treats for him that didn't have poultry in it. Honestly, I think now times have changed since we've started. There's so many businesses that do single ingredient, which is fantastic. But at the time, when you first get a dog, you naturally go to the pet store. You don't really find small businesses yet unless you follow them on Instagram. But between work and everything, like I didn't have time for that. I was just going to the pet store because I needed to grab something quickly. And most of the treats that were on the shelf just somehow had poultry in it every single time. Yeah. Same with his food. So that's when we were like, okay, I think there's actually a little gap in the market, and I know that this will help Lenny and it'll help us as pet parents a lot. So yeah, I think that's what inspired Lenny's Pup Shop. I think it was him, our experiences with him.
Yeah. And even though there are a lot of brands with single ingredient, as you said, I think we wanted to start something that was trustworthy, an Aussie family business where you see we're giving all of our treats and all of our chews to Lenny, who has a sensitive stomach, who has these chicken allergies, which are more common than what we thought anyway, especially in golden retrievers. So
I think it's along the lines of like 20% of dogs have a chicken allergy, which was very surprising.
Yeah. So yeah, if they're struggling with things, I remember it was itching in the beginning. He had runny eyes. He'd have a runny tummy a lot, so his poo was always runny, which is why we got this weird obsession with always analysing his poo now.
I mean, you have to. It tells you a lot.
Well, you get so happy when it's a solid poo these days. And that's when potentially you might need to look at things like their diet.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, going through all of that with all the explosive diarrheas and not understanding what was happening and why he was so and I mean, look, he is more sensitive than regular dogs, I would say. But in saying that, we are in a day and age now where a lot of dogs are really sensitive to a lot of things. They've got pancreatitis, and this is why single ingredient allergy friendly treats are super important. And like Josh said, we wanted to build a brand that was trustworthy, and we adhere to that, I think pretty well.
Yeah. And speaking of trustworthy, we were saying it was hard to find trustworthy treats. And the reason we started this is because we're seeing a lot of problems within the pet industry, whether it was regulations or certain companies doing the wrong thing or going into it for the wrong reasons. And when we started, can you remember what were some of the biggest problems you saw in the pet industry that we wanted to fix or address? Something that you feel like needs to change?
I mean, I think one of the biggest things and one of the reasons we started our own brand was because we realized that the pet industry wasn't regulated in Australia. It is regulated by a voluntary body, I think by the PFIAA. So making sure that your manufacturers have all the right accreditations, they're going by Food Safe, HACCP and all of that. But I think for us, Sorry, can you ask me that question again? Sorry, just I feel like what was the second part of the question?
Oh no, just what do you think needs to change in the pet industry or
Yeah.
the
So I
dog
think
food
that
industry? Yeah.
transparency needs to change. I think what we weren't aware of was that that businesses were able to actually state that there were, certain things in the treat, but there wasn't. Like, could say that it was 100% kangaroo, but it could be 10% kangaroo, 90% something else. So for us, transparency in the dog industry was shocking. We realized that a country like Australia isn't regulating pet food the way that I thought they were regulating pet food. So it makes it a really scary industry because, to be frank, it's really like you really have to trust the owner, you have to trust the brand that they're doing right by your dog. And I think for us, the biggest thing was that we have Lenny and Lenny eats our treats and we're very transparent about the ones he tolerates. He can't have chicken. That's the only thing, obviously, because he's allergic to chicken. But we're feeding Lenny these treats, so we wouldn't do that if we didn't trust it ourselves because I want him to live forever. And I'm sure most of you guys want your dogs to live forever. So yeah, I think transparency in the pet industry is needed. I think maybe hopefully one day they will regulate it better. And I hope that there will be more, rules that people would have to adhere to. Yes, it would make it more difficult for businesses, but I feel like, we're feeding them these things and we want them to live forever. I want to know what is going into his body. I want to know what I'm feeding him. I want to know that he's getting the most quality treats and food and supplements and whatever, and that I can trust that they're doing the right thing, because right now we're going based on a kind of a hope that they're doing the right thing.
I think you can all tell something's wrong. I mean, the dogs are getting sicker than ever. They're not living as long. They're getting a whole bunch of issues like allergies. They're getting cancers earlier. I think I even just sent Mel the other night a study that was done. I can share this online with you all. It looked at all the top food brands, the kibbles, the treats. Plenty of them had really high levels of toxic chemicals, arsenic, were full of heaps of really bad ingredients that can cause cancers. So I think that's why we need more regulations, or at least brands that care more about it. And as consumers, I think, we do have the power in what we pay for and what brand we're supporting. So I'll try and find that and help share that with you. Lenny's already sick of it, aren't you? That's got him up and about.
He's like too controversial for me.
Yeah, too much for me. But yeah, so I think definitely regulations would be great, because it seems like it is affecting our pets' health. And not to get too deep down the conspiracy bandwagon, but it does make sense, doesn't it? That if dogs are sicker, they're going to end up at the vet more, which will obviously increase their amount of turnover and profit, and the insurance company. So it's almost like a bit of a cycle.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And it's too big of an industry. Like, we need
It's
more.
the word, an industry. It's a profitable industry. Yeah.
We need more small businesses that care. We need more small businesses that support each other. We need to create a community of all different services and to help dogs now. You know what I mean? Because unfortunately, those big corporations are just going to keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And until someone comes along and, puts them in their place, they're just going to keep doing what they want. And to be honest, it is about building trust with the company, knowing where they're getting their produce from, and are they feeding their own dogs with it? Like, sometimes I feel like a lot of brands might have mascots they don't actually have.
Do they have their own dog?
Yeah. Whereas I feel like we are very transparent about the fact that we do, in fact, feed Lenny everything that we have and everything that we sell at Lenny's Pop Shop.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah.
We heard a funny rumor about a very famous brand with a certain dog that apparently isn't even her real dog. I won't go into it. I don't want to spill the tea now, but potentially in future, look out for that. Now, I wanted to shift gears a little bit. Obviously, we were talking about the issues in the pet industry. Now I want to talk about how Mel has basically single-handedly built the brand on her own. Which just shows if you do want to start your own brand or try your own thing, you can do it. It's only been, is it coming on 3 years or 2 years for us?
Two.
Oh my gosh, only 2 years. I feel like we've been doing this a lifetime.
I'm tired.
We're exhausted.
I'm tired, Grandpa.
Yeah, the problem is you go into it like at full sprint, just working hard all day, every day. And we've been doing that for a couple of years, but it really is a marathon. They say that you overestimate what you can do in 2 years, but underestimate what you can do in 10. So It's an all-out slog. But when we started Lenny's Pop Shop, it had zero audience. Like, we started from absolutely nothing. And within a year, we had about 10K Instagram followers, which was very good. And we've obviously built TikTok and YouTube as well. But how do you think you grew that following from nothing to over 10K? And what advice would you have for anyone who is trying to grow their social media following?
I think, first of all, I have to acknowledge that I did not build this completely on my own. I had my beautiful husband that helped me and supported me. So without him, I know I wouldn't have been able to do it. So it was a team effort.
Thanks.
But yeah, so I think something that worked really well was when we first started the Instagram and everything, I was just focused on putting out content that felt really authentic to me. This was before I learned about algorithms and trends and trending sounds and all that crap.
Yeah.
I was just posting what I wanted to post. It was videos of me and Lenny enjoying his streets, us going to the beach. At the time, we were also trialing treats with other dogs. I remember I used to work in the city, so there was a lot of dogs there, and I would bring treats with me and I would get them to try it and take photos of them. And that was the kind of stuff that I posted. So I think people, I guess, felt like it was really authentic. So they just started following me from that. Secondly, I think as well that something that really helped was I didn't worry too much about what people thought. I think that is a major block when you start a business or when you start socials or when you want to become an influencer or content creator is overthinking, like thinking that people from high school are going to watch and it's going to be really embarrassing and you got to get over yourself. I think that was the thing. So it was easier in the sense that I wasn't really in it. At the start, it was mainly dogs and Lenny. So I think people just gravitated towards that. Again, consistency. So I'd listen to a lot of podcasts about social media. I researched a lot on Google. I used all the resources that I could. There's a lot of free resources. I went to a few workshops that our local council had on social media, like how to use certain apps like CapCut, TikTok. And I think a lot of it is on yourself. You have to do a bit of self-research. I don't think you need to do any like degree or be super experienced. I think just if you're willing to, just give it a try. So I think I did all of those. I did a lot of research. I went to a few free workshops. I didn't pay for anything. And then I learned how to use Canva and learned how to use other editing tools. And yeah, so I think learning and also consistency would be another one. So trying my best to be consistent with it. So people, obviously, if they're going to follow you, they're hoping to see more from you. So I think I had something in my head like, oh, I Googled, when should I post on Instagram or TikTok and whatever. So I would post like 3 times a week, or then they would tell you use your analytics. But let's be honest, at the time you have no idea what you're looking at. You don't understand analytics. You don't even know what an analytic is. But I think, yeah, all in all, it was just being authentic. It was because I think they were enjoying the content. It was being consistent and posting however much you can handle. Obviously, at the time I was working full time, so I couldn't do as much as what I do now. So yeah, I think over time, it just kind of grew slowly. I think people think you need to go viral. You need to have this one video that's going to like take you there. That might happen once in a blue moon. But for the most part, consistency, putting yourself out there, being authentic and doing your research. I think all of that is what helped us grow our following from 0 to 10K.
Yeah. So posting genuine content consistently and trying to learn from the content, I suppose, that does well. And even AI now, I know, is great. If you're ever struggling with anything, just ask and give it some context, and it can really help you think stuff through. Google was very helpful and YouTube's always good, but AI now is just so much quicker and can really get to the point.
I think at the start when we first started
didn't
was like
really have AI.
but
we
it
didn't
was.
have
I
it.
think
It was too
ChatGPT
early.
was like a in the works, or maybe it was already built, but we didn't know about it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think AI is great, but I also think there's a moment where if you rely too much on it, you stop thinking, you stop pushing yourself about thinking new ideas because you're relying on this engine to do it for you. And then that's when you can quickly kind of lose that authenticity. So I think always do what feels right. Always do what don't be posting, because people will see through that if you're not being authentic. They will see that you're not enjoying the content. You're just putting it out for the sake of it. So have strategy, of course, but just stay true to yourself and don't worry about what other people think of you.
Yeah, we'll just spit out generic crap. And honestly, I'm even so sick of hearing about algorithms and this update and that update and scroll speed and sends and whatever. I think Mel's right, is just getting back to the stuff that we enjoy making, the content we enjoy making. If we find that we like it and it's genuine to us, and I think you feel that hopefully as well.
Yeah, it's like this podcast. I think this is one of the new types of content that we have wanted to make for a long time, and now we're really excited to do it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And let us know what some of your favorite content is. I think having Lenny in it is always good.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know, he's dipped.
Yeah. And I think it was even hard in the beginning because we wanted the whole brand to be about Lenny. You know, he is the CEO. He's the love of our life. It's all based on him. But people also want to see people. You know, they want to connect with someone real. They want to know who's behind it. So that is a recent shift I think we have made, is trying to include ourselves more on the page. So you know who is actually behind Lenny's Pup Shop. And I think it feels more authentic now, getting to know us, hopefully.
For me it is. I think you do get lost in yourself in the business. You get lost in the business as you go. But there's moments where you like hopefully will find yourself again. And yeah, right now the content does feel a bit more authentic. And it just feels right. You know, we're really enjoying making it.
Yeah. And I wanted to now talk about something funny when we started the business, because obviously there's been a lot of challenges. We were saying before, we're pretty exhausted. We've been going hard for a few years. And in the beginning, we almost thought, oh my God, is it even worth it? We just wanted to give up. Our lawyer even said that the pet food industry in particular, or the dog industry, is extra aggressive. And when we started, obviously certain people got threatened, even around stupid things like pup cups and that sort of thing, and the naming of them. But I wanted to go back to, at the beginning, why do you think that happened? We were obviously pursued legally in the beginning, and I wanted to ask, why do you think that happened? And did you feel like giving up at that time? And what made you sort of get through it?
Yeah, I think any new person that's going to start a business that you're already doing, you're going to feel threatened, right? So if you have a clothing brand and your friend starts a clothing brand, you can't help but feel threatened. So I think that, of course, when we started, I think our concept was really unique. So I think people originally, because we had so many people say, oh my God, I've never thought of that. This is such a good idea. That's when you know it's a good idea, when people go, oh my God, I didn't think of that, right? Because it sounds so simple. But I think that this particular brand got a little bit upset, I think, because they were doing something for a very long time. I guess they've been in the game for a really long time. But we just came in here wanting to just serve dogs, you know, little pup cups and make them happy. And we quickly realized how volatile the industry was. So we did have a cease and desist for over a name of the pup cup, which is, quite funny.
Well, the funny thing was, they were selling a puppuccino, which puppuccino I thought was a common name online.
It's like cappuccino, is it
It's like a cappuccino, but for a dog. And we were just going to be serving a puppuccino in person, whereas this person was selling an online product that was powder form in a completely different state, which is hilarious. And we were just going to be selling in person at one park in Melbourne at Apex Park. And they decided to go after us for that, when plenty of other huge brands, like even coffee shops
every coffee shop that I know can just whip up a baby chino without the chocolate and the marshmallow, and that's a puppuccino. You know what I mean? So for us, puppuccino just meant anything like cappuccino, like tea. So we didn't know that it was like, trademarked. I didn't know you could even trademark something like that. So, I think when you start, obviously brands do feel a little bit threatened, which is absolutely normal. I think it's just about how you go about it. And I am a big believer that there is more than enough people out there for everybody. It is a $10 billion plus industry. I think it was just a little bit silly to pursue us. And to be honest, I did want to give up. This happened to us 3 days before our grand opening, which means that every flyer, every social media post, everything that we had puppuccino on it, and we had to very quickly remove all of that.
And I was away for work at the time too. I remember I was stressing. I was having to present at work.
You were away. We had a reporter for a local newspaper that had already written about it, and the company had to reach out to her, so she got rid of it and had to like put Pup Cup instead. So it all happened, mind you, 3 days before we opened the pup shop. So in that moment, I think they do this to scare you. A lot of businesses, and I know other businesses that have been through this, that isn't about pup cups, it's about other stuff, but they do this because obviously they've got money and they've got the power to do it, but they do it to intimidate you because are you willing to get a lawyer? Are you willing to fight for your brand this early on? We've invested so much money in the caravan, in everything. Are we going to back out now? No way. Josh and I aren't the type. But did I want to give up in that moment? Yeah, it was scary. I've never had a cease and desist in my life. You know what I mean? So having to call lawyers and sort this all out within 3 days was really scary. So
And it's so expensive. That's the big advice I would say. Anyone starting anything, always avoid legal trouble if you can, because we'd never had to deal with a lawyer. Even just writing a letter is like $1,000 to reply to things. So even just going back and forth a few times can send a small business broke. And I think that is what these big companies can try and do, is intimidate you, threaten you, and then try and just send you broke through legal troubles. But of course, me and Mel just aren't the type, I suppose, to give up that easily. And thankfully, we got through it. And I think when you start something new, don't give up right away if things don't go your way in the beginning. And try and avoid legal troubles as much as you can. Thankfully, it's been all good since then. I think they understood it was a complete miscommunication, and there was really nothing in it. So we changed the name.
Thankfully everything was sorted. The Pup Cup is better anyway.
Yeah, Pup Cup is
so
better.
that's
I like
fine.
That. Yeah, it even made more sense, like Lenny's Pup Shop, the Pup Cup. So it's quite good. And then I did have a question on that track of hard things that we've had to overcome. We were speaking earlier, and it's really hard with the business because we do believe in, what would you say, spiritual signs or God or the universe or whatever. And we're very persistent people, me and Mel. We're very motivated. And when hard things come up, it's hard to tell, is this hard thing coming up because it's like a challenge you have to overcome? Or is it a sign from God or the universe that you should stop? And I wanted to ask, what have been some of the hardest moments for you personally with Lenny's Pup Shop? And how did you overcome them? Did you ever think that we should stop?
We've had
other than every week.
other than every day.
Other than every day where you second guess.
We've had a lot of hard times in the business. I don't believe anyone goes through business smoothly. It is a roller coaster. One of the biggest things, and I think that's happened recently, was that we decided to close the pup shop over the summer. Now, we opened in March 2024 and it got super popular really quickly. We got very lucky with that. We had some media coverage. We were on Sunrise, on Time Out. And then very quickly we realized that we were dealing with Melbourne weather, and Melbourne weather is not the friendliest weather, as you know. 4 seasons in one day is absolutely true. So we did about 2 summers and quickly realized that it wasn't working over the summertime. And I think realizing that your business is not working at any time really plants a lot of doubt in your head. So I think for me, it was a very discouraging time. It was a very disheartening time because we put so much work and so much investment into it. But I think sometimes in business, things are thrown at you and, again and again and again and again, it's not working. It's not working. The universe is showing you it's not working. So you don't necessarily have to take that as like, oh my God, I need to close, but more so as a shift of mindset of, okay, clearly online at the time was working better. We were getting more out of that. So I think it was about shifting my mind into, hey, the pup, it's not that the pup shop isn't working altogether, is that it just wasn't working over the summertime specifically. So that was a business decision we had to make. There were obviously hard times when you get that one in a, blue moon bad review, someone just being unhappy about a product, like it didn't last as long, or I wish you made it in a different size or a different flavor. Just like little silly things like that. Like there's moments like this that pop up that make you doubt whether or not you should be doing what you're doing. There's a little bit of imposter syndrome too, obviously not coming from that field, although Josh and I are both into like health, and we have that health background. Dogs are very different, animals are very different, so there's moments where you do doubt yourself, and I think that's normal. I think you should have those doubts because that's what keeps you going. So those were, some of the hardest time. But I think, the biggest one for me was definitely struggling with whether or not the pup shop was working. I think it was a kind of a reality check of, you need to look at your business plan and you need to see, okay, well, if it's not working over the summertime, what do we do? Do we close? Do we focus on online? There's been lots of moments like that where I've wanted to give up or I've had a lot of doubt, but I think it's about rearranging that mindset and just, you can sit in it, you can be upset, you have to acknowledge that it is, upsetting because you've put so much work into it, but then it's about picking yourself back up and being like, okay, what can I do different? What is going to work?
The day that I think led to this, it was the hardest day we'd ever had because it was off the back of about 3 or 4 weekends where we'd had bad weather. We basically turned over nothing every weekend, and it's a really hard time getting your caravan out. We were going to Brunswick at the time. You get all the way out there, you set everything up, you've done all the prep all morning, like cooking sweet potato and whatever, and then it starts raining, so the park is absolutely dead. And then you're out there most of the day, you come home basically for nothing. So that happened for about 3 or 4 weekends. And then on the way back home one day, we were like, are we just getting signs that we shouldn't do this anymore? And then literally this lady on our way back as I was driving cuts right in front of us and just slams on her brakes. I had no time to brake. We would have gone up the back of her and crashed. Luckily, I swerved off to the side of the road. Everything was like swerving so bad, the caravan, and we just missed her. So I think that was just our final straw. Me and Mel were like, okay, I think this is time to call it on the caravan. As Mel said, the online was picking up and we were just getting way more return on our investment and our time from that. But that was so hard because we loved the caravan and we loved the cafe so much. That was our favourite part of the business, talking to people and working in that space. So it was a really hard decision.
Yeah, I think it was multiple signs. I think that day it was raining too, on and off,
raining,
and we had to keep putting our chairs out, putting it back inside, the signs out, the signs falling down. It was just one of those days where we knew for a fact, okay, you need to make a decision today, So there's I feel like this does happen quite often, where as Josh said, it is hard to know, is the universe giving you a sign to stop or is it giving you a sign to move in a different direction, So you really have to listen to yourself, have conversations with yourself, remind yourself of why you started, where you want to be, and that's what we did. Yeah.
And it is hard because, I've got quite a competitive mindset and a driven, I suppose, approach to things. So it is hard to actually give up on that and maybe a little bit of ego or pride in that too. You don't want to say something's failed. But I think me and Mel are good at being able to reflect and change if we need to. On the topic, I suppose, of challenges and hard things, I wanted to talk a little bit about our relationship. Because everyone says, don't go into business with your partner. That's a terrible idea. Everything will end up, broken or whatever. Weirdly enough, I feel like it actually brought us closer together working with each other. But I wanted to ask, how have you found it working together as a couple? Do you think it's brought us closer or stronger, or have you found it hard? What do you think about working together with your now hubby?
I think you have to have a good conversation before you start. I think the thing that made us different was that Josh and I are very driven in our own ways. Like when it comes to work, when I used to be in corporate, I feel like I was a really good employee. I worked really hard. I didn't really need to be pushed. I would just push myself. I think we both have that. So for us, when we work together, it doesn't feel like it's husband and wife. It feels like, and that's how it should be, is that, we're going into this, we're both employees in the business and we have to be professional. So it has its challenges, which I'll get into. But I think overall it has brought us closer, of course. And I think we really enjoy it because we both have the same values, we both have the same goals and ideas of what we want, and we always check in on each other to make sure that that is still the case. I think it becomes difficult when you start taking things too personally, which has of course happened to us. Like, I can't say that it hasn't, but when you start taking things too personally, you both deviate from your goal. You're not communicating with one another, you're not checking in with one another. I think that's when you start to struggle. For us, obviously, it's always been pretty dandy and pretty good. I think the only times really is if I'm, not feeling mentally, I guess, well, or if I'm doubting the business and Josh is telling me maybe to do something and it feels like you just take offense to it. I think for me, I had a bit of trouble navigating that, taking feedback from Josh, because obviously it's hard. It's your partner. So you're like, am I supposed to take that personally, or is this business? So I think it's about drawing the line between personal and business. It does get blurred sometimes, but for the most part, it's good. I think the most part is we have to remind ourselves that it is just, we both want it to work.
Yeah.
So we both have to make sure that we listen to each other, we take feedback and criticism from each other well. But yeah, obviously there's days where he's feeling a bit, crappy. There's days I feel a bit crappy. It's rare, but it happens. And you might just take things personally that day, and you just have a little tiff. But I think anyone that wants to go into business with each other's, spouses or partners or whatever, I think communication is the biggest thing. Making sure that you're writing your goals down, making sure that you're checking in and that you're both still feeling like, what you're doing is relevant to the business, that you're happy doing it. Is it still feeling authentic to you? I think people always say when you start a business, it's like you never work. Someone said that you never work a day in your life when you do what you love. But we listened to that on a podcast, and I think it's not true. I think it is more
It's
hard.
always work, yeah.
It's always work, and it's not always about passion. So, but yeah, I think it's just communication is key. So yeah, we struggled here and there with just, taking criticism and feedback. But for the most part, I think we've done pretty well. And I think we listen to each other well, and we take each other into consideration, because at the end of the day, we both want the same goal, which is for Lenny's Pup Shop to become super, super successful.
Yeah. I think it taught us to get over things quicker. I think, where you have challenges is just where the lines get blurred between work and personal, because we had to set that up, and I had to say that very early on, is when I'm talking about improving an email Mel made or changing the way something looks design-wise, I'm not critiquing her personally. I'm just talking as, employee to employee, basically. And then the other hard thing is I obviously work, so I'll come home from work and be ready to go, let's work on Lenny's Pup Shop. But to Mel, she's been working on Lenny's Pup Shop all day really hard, and then I'm coming home and wanting to do extra. So she's burnt out by that point, whereas I'm just getting started on the Lenny's work. So I think that's where it can also be difficult, is just navigating that. But of course, if you just communicate well, set boundaries, we say after 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, we're not going to talk about Lenny's Pup Shop. We leave it to the weekend. We have a list of things we want to do each day, and if we get those done, then we're happy. And then, obviously just not taking things personally, because you've got to act like you're working together in a business relationship and keep the relationship that you have as husband and wife separate. It's not always fully foolproof, but we do our best, and I think you've just got to be able to get over things sometimes. And
I think
have fun.
it's boundaries is another thing. Like Josh said, we've set, certain days that we can talk about it, or certain times, making sure that we're getting through our list. But again, it all comes down to communication. Can you speak to your partner or your business partner in a way where you can actually be honest? Because I think as soon as you start covering how you're feeling, then you start resenting, and that's when stuff goes really bad. So I think you got to speak your mind and have dedicated times to speak to each other and check in and have like meetings. I think those are important. But yeah, like Josh said, just treat it as like your business partners. You're coming to work, you're coming into the office. Would you talk to your employee that way? Like, would you get upset, So I think that's the biggest thing, is just trying your best not to take things too personally, because it is a partnership relationship,
Yep. One last question for Lenny's Pup Shop before we wrap up. I was wanting to throw our minds to the future and think about Lenny's Pup Shop. If it could be everything that you dreamed it could be, what would that look like in 10 years? So what would your ultimate dream be? Big moonshot. What would Lenny's Pup Shop look like?
That's a
Dream
big
big, Malay. I want you to really
that's a
paint
big
a
question.
picture. Yeah, it's hard.
Obviously, for me, I would obviously love to be like the world's most trusted, I won't say Aussies, the world's most trusted, pet brand. People, because Josh and I, we really want this brand to stay within us. Like, we don't want to be selling ourselves out to big corporations. So being kind of like, the biggest trusted brand. We potentially have stores around Australia. We're still going to be somewhat, involved in the business, because I feel like the reason why we've done well is because people can reach out to us and we're talking to you. Where, it's not employees or admin or people from overseas that are doing our admin stuff. We're speaking to you. Every communication that you've ever received from Lenny's Pup Shop has been from Josh and I, and that is it. No one else, So I would.
Lenny.
And Lenny, of course. I think my biggest goal too would maybe to have a charity by the end. Josh and I want to do philanthropic work, so we want to be able to help, we want to help dogs and we want to help people. Yeah. So our line of, interest isn't just dogs, it's to help people that are struggling with mental health. There's a lot to unpack there, but for me, I would love to have, like a charity foundation that's helping dogs all over the world. Hopefully the recent fundraiser that we're going to do is also going to be successful as well. Have multiple shops, be Aussies or the world's most trusted pet brand. And just I think for me that is my end goal. Hopefully be international. That would be really cool as well. So my end goal is just to
have a Lenny jet. We want to have a Lenny jet so Lenny can come anywhere with us around the world. A private Lenny jet.
Yeah.
We can take your dogs around the world too.
And maybe have a shelter as well. That would be really cool to help dogs in need. So my whole goal at the end of this is to be able to help, dogs everywhere.
And people.
Yeah. And people.
Yeah. I think that is our thing is, and we know a lot of people are struggling, whether it's mental health, and we've gone through similar struggles. And I think it is sad that so many people out there are having a hard time. So if there is a way that we can help, let us know. That is why we set this up. We had our vision in the beginning was, could we help people with mental health or homelessness with pets? Because Lenny changed our life so much. And I'm like, if these people are struggling, I wonder if giving them a pet could really help get them out of that. It gives them some responsibility, gives them another life to care for. They definitely make you feel a lot better. So potentially something down the line that would involve and bring two of those together.
100%. Yeah, I would love to be in the position too where obviously people that are, homeless or, like Josh said, us having a hard time in life. Obviously there's barriers like, being able to afford food and
we would pay for.
Which we would pay for. Yeah, that would be my absolute end goal. I think that was our goal from the very start.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And one last question, just wanted to get something a little bit controversial. I wanted to ask, what is one controversial opinion you have as a dog parent that you think most people wouldn't agree with? Or something that you think is a hot topic? Oh, is this gonna trip? Is she gonna be...
I'm not really someone who's like that controversial.
Mel hates controversial. She's always too scared to say.
Okay, I don't think it's it might be controversial. Yeah, it is probably controversial. It's desexing our dogs. I think that's my biggest thing. We have not desexed Lenny. And I think a lot of people have opinions about that.
It is sad because I do feel like the poor guy gets judged because he has his balls when he's such a sweet little boy.
Yeah, it's not to say that I don't see both sides. It's not to say that I don't understand both sides, but everyone will have their preferences and opinions. And for me, and for Lenny's case particularly, I didn't feel like we needed to. So yeah. That's my biggest.
Go. We'll save that for another time. We'll discuss that.
Or should you not desex your dog?
Should you or should you not desex your dog? I definitely think it's done too early. It should definitely wait till they're fully matured. Studies now show that it's much better for their long-term health and development. But yes, maybe we'll do another episode on this. we've got Mel to say something controversial finally. One of our friends told us they did really love wrapping the episode up with our favourite moment from this week. So we're going to wrap it up today with our favourite moment, Mel, from the past week. What was yours while I try and think of mine?
Ooh, my favorite
It's
moment
hard,
from the week.
Yeah, what was your favourite moment, do you think?
Okay.
It's hard to remember what you do throughout the week. I don't know about you. I forget what I've done yesterday. So remembering...
It might be just, I don't know how exciting that is, but Lenny recently made a new friend at the dog park, which is a
It's
4-month.
always the dog park.
I know. No, but it's really
It's always the
cute. So
dog
Lenny, the thing is, we want to potentially get Lenny a friend in the next few years. And he doesn't care for puppies. He never acknowledges puppies when there's puppies around. And I thought, man, this guy's is so spoiled. He's gonna hate having a sibling. But recently he met a new Goldie, which, by the way, being a Goldie, they usually love each other, not Lenny. But this one he really did enjoy. And she's 4 months old, and they are like two peas in a pod. And now we get to have play dates most mornings, because it's nice to know when you have like a friend that you can meet up with, that you know your dog is going to have a good social interaction with, play really well with. So yeah, that's been my favorite part, is seeing his new little friendship develop at the dog park with this little puppy.
That's good.
Yeah, what about yours?
I was trying to think. The few moments that came to my head were Mel was on the road with me this week, and I had been wanting to take her to this favourite breakfast spot that I had, where you got like a chili scrambled eggs with chorizo. Unfortunately, it was a different chef, so it was like not even a tenth as good as what it was meant to be. But that was still good to have Mel there. It wasn't very good, I'm sorry. And I think also the other moments were we didn't take our phones to the dog park. We said, let's not take our phones so that we can enjoy it. And we also met up with some friends at the dog park yesterday, which was
You
nice.
tell me it's all about the dog park. This one's got dog park, dog
Oh,
park.
it's so weird, but it's hard. When I literally think back on the week, these are the moments that come up. Nothing else comes up for me. Which is strange. Yeah, it does. Those are the moments that do come up. I obviously really enjoy like working. So to me, I enjoy like, the amount of work we do during the week and just accomplishing things and the content that we make. And, we made a lot of progress just, making blogs and coming up with stuff for Lenny's Pup Shop. We've got some new stuff coming. We've just finalized something new. I can't say what yet. I'm a little bit weird at the moment. I really enjoy just working on the business.
No, I think it's just we're in a time of our life right now where, we don't have kids, we don't have that commitment, and we are just trying to throw everything that we have into making this business work. And like Josh said, look at the fact that we think the dog park is the best part goes to show how much we enjoyed having Lenny's Pup Shop, because that was the job. The cafe was to be at the dog park. So if you ever doubted how genuine we are, we do just really enjoy it. We love being around people. We love being around dogs. We love seeing Lenny being happy with his friends. And ultimately, we want to be able to kind of convey that feeling to you.
Yeah, no, spot on. That was very well said. Because, every day is the same for us. We get up, we have coffee, we work all day, we go to the dog park, we watch a bit of a TV show and snack a lot, and then we go to bed.
It's a good life.
It is a good life. We were saying we're very happy and content with it. So, yes, that was our favourite moments from this week. We hope you enjoyed this interview with the founder of Lenny's Pup Shop, Melissa.
One of the founders.
One of the founders, that's correct. There are 3 of us.
Exactly.
Let us know if you did have any more questions you wanted to ask Mel, what you liked about today's podcast. Would you like to see more of Lenny Boy?
Did you want to tell everyone where you can find us as well?
Oh, yes. Well, you can find us on Instagram at Lenny's Pup Shop. Pretty simple, all one word. Or please give us a follow or a like on Spotify and YouTube if you're watching us on either of those platforms. We'd really appreciate it. Means a lot to us. And goodbye for now.
See ya.
See you later.